We are very much due a massive catch up. Since I last did a Chatty Get Ready With Me, I've had a baby. We had Berry in the JR in Oxford. Started coming on her due date, which is amazing because I came on my due date and so did my brother. So I didn't know it would be hereditary. Probably very much not, but I just find that bonkers. I really didn't want to go too far over the due date. Tried absolutely everything. And my friends kept saying to me, you need to have sex. Up for it, let's do it. And honest to God, Berry started coming the next morning. We opted in for the part of the hospital which is a midwife-led centre. But when we got there was such a shortage of staff that the midwife-led centre was closed, so we had to go into the main hospital. In the midwife-led centre, you can't have epidurals. And honestly, at the very beginning of my pregnancy, I thought, I'd really like to have as less drugs as possible. And then everything changes when you're in the middle of birth. In the moment, it was right for me. I just wanted that relief. And I'm so glad I did. We had quite a long wait and I was actually fully dilated when they came round. But I was like, at the very end, I just thought, so painful. I'd really like to have the last bit just a bit more enjoyable and less intense. Of course, it's so different for everyone. I guess I thought that an epidural would be like you can't feel anything from the waist down, and that just wasn't the case at all. I very much could feel it, and I could feel the pushing, I could feel it coming out, and it was just absolutely incredible, but probably a lot less painful than if it was without the epidural. In birth, I lost 1 litre of blood, and because of that, I had a low milk supply. Apparently a lot of parents do this. When Berry was first born, I had colostrum coming through, which is quite painful, isn't it? Having to squeeze the nipple when you're just so unused to that feeling. Day 3 or 4, it still felt like it was still colostrum, and Henry and I just had this worry that she wasn't getting enough milk and we should have had milk by then. So we then started to feed her with bottle formula. It seemed like she started to prefer the bottle to my nipple, which is absolutely heartbreaking. And we went to the specialist. It wasn't NHS. We tried to get help with NHS, but it was taking too long. And when your baby's a few days old, you just need help urgently. She told us that Berry was tongue-tied with a high palate. I really wish I knew that you could have a low milk supply, and I would probably even book in with a specialist like a few days after giving birth, because they help you latch on. They let you know if there's any problems with the baby's latch. After opening up online about how difficult it was, I have so many messages from people that really struggled. We went to a lactation consultant. I'm sure it'll come up on Google around where you live. But absolutely, it was the best thing that we did, but I just wish we went a little bit sooner. So, disclaimer, I have absolutely nothing against formula feeding. I do formula feed, Combi. So I think that they make absolutely incredible formula nowadays. As I said, Berry had tongue tie and high palate. But our lactation coach didn't want to operate. I don't think you can actually operate until my milk supply is high enough to make it worthwhile. So that was the first thing we had to do. We went on a drug called domperidone, and we also had to pump 5 times a day. We bought a hospital grade pump. I think the one we bought was about 80 quid, but I think you can get them secondhand on Facebook Marketplace. And we'd pump 5 times a day, but 3 of those times were power pumps. 50 minutes pumping, 10 minutes off, 50 minutes pumping, 10 minutes off, 50 minutes pumping. And that was 3 times a day, and the others were just a solid 20 minutes. So that was about 2 weeks. It was literally me sitting on the sofa, feeding her with the bottle, as well as feeding her with formula. Also pumping 5 times a day. So it was a lot. And I basically just sat on the sofa for that entire time, which sounds lovely, but Jesus Christ, I wanted to get out of the house, I wanted to go for a walk, to do anything, and it was just constant. It was very tiring and I was starving the whole time. So apart from that, I was on a diet which would hopefully increase my milk supply. And there's loads online about this. It's things like uptake your oats. And I took like fenugreek tablets. And then when we got to a place where I was pumping a lot more milk, we were able to have Berry's tongue tie operation done, which is really dramatic. I mean, they won't remember it, it's fine. That's the reason why they have it done so young. Then we were able to drop pumping and just doing as much booby time as possible. And it was all looking really good, except for the fact that I just seemed to be feeding all day long. She would sit on the boob for, honestly, it could be 2 hours, and she would still be kind of suckling away. So our lactation coach came to see us and said the reason that she is spending a lot of time there is because the milk supply has gone down, basically, after all that work. We decided that we wanted to combi feed anyway, eventually. And she was getting my antibodies. She was getting probably half a serving of milk from me, and it's okay. And we came a long way from the beginning of me having basically nothing. So we decided that it's a really positive thing that we get to combi feed. So we decided to look at it as a really, really positive thing, that we get the best of both worlds. And she's absolutely thriving. But if you are trying to get your milk supply up, I really recommend trying those things, or getting a lactation coach if you can afford it. Yeah, really need my hair doing. I accidentally missed my hair appointment a few weeks ago. I thought it was March. Anyway, it's coming up soon. I'm very excited. I hope you enjoyed our little get ready with me, little catch up. Yes, so nice to catch up with you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.